coffee on this dark ride, get everybody woke up. This is not the dinner car, right? The diner car?
There you go.
We need some diner cars, don't we?
I have a question. Why do they have a blonde driving in the dark ride? Is that so we can't tell later?
Oh, wow. I've never been asked that before. All right then. Yes, I'm a blonde driving in the dark. So, back from 1923 to 1983, the rail bed was the lifeblood of the mine. The miners used to call locomotive number 1 there the Galloping Goose. Now the reason they called her the Galloping Goose is because she had that long neck up to the ceiling that ran off the DC trolley power line, and her wheels were on springs. Every time they would start or stop that locomotive, she jumped so violently sometimes she'd come right off of those tracks. Now these ore cars, the CSC stands for Carry Salt Company, and the ore cars each hold 4 tons of salt. That's very important because the buckets that take the salt up the skip each held 4 tons of salt as well. Now the miners, back then they called them muckers, they would load these by hand, and it took about an hour and a half for each car to be loaded by the miners. For every car that they loaded, they received a brass chip. Now at the end of the day, they take their brass chips topside and collect 50 cents for each brass chip. Now in the 1920s, that was actually a pretty good wage. Now here's our explosive car. The powder car here, you can see how they changed in transporting the dynamite. They started out in the wooden boxes, then went to cardboard boxes, and now still today we use the bags of the anhydrous blasting powder. Now here's the part where we enter the darker portion of your ride. The first room that you came down and saw when you came off of that elevator was called the Great Room. Now that was mined in the 20s and 30s when they used the rail bed and they loaded everything.